Just checking my audio. So you hear me well? You can
Yeah,
hear
I
me
hear
well?
you well. Don't worry. Everything's well. So let's make a formal introduction for our listener. Gerald, my name is Claudio. I'm calling you from Washington, D.C. From the studios in Fairfax City. We're very humble and grateful that Gerald accepted our invitation to our show. Gerald, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
No problem. So with everything that in the whole world, people die in the pandemic, people want to take the vaccine, people don't, you cannot tour that much, you cannot go out that much. How is this affecting your life, your family, your creativity, the inability to, go outside and tour for
Yeah,
people?
yeah. No, it affected us here in a very big way. um, how can I say that? I mean, I play before the pandemic. I played about 100 gigs a year, so that's pretty much. And from March till 2020 till now, I played 5 gigs. I think 5 or 6, and two of them were streaming gigs. So it
Yeah.
really changed our life. But I mean, in the beginning, nobody knew what it is exactly, and how to deal with it. Now we I think we got a little bit we got used to it, and I used the first half of the pandemic, if you can say so, from March to about July or August, to produce my album or to finish my new record. I had one planned, but I thought I will do it in 2021, and then COVID-19 came. I had nothing to do, and was just thinking, okay, I have 4 or 5 songs and 4 or 5 unfinished, and so I finished the unfinished, and yeah, and made demos and pre-produced a little bit, and then we went in the studio in July. I talked to my guys, to my band, and so I used this period for a creative process, I think. So, and if yeah, I think I would have made the record anyway, but maybe a little bit later, maybe this year or next year. So if I preponed everything, and yeah, and yeah, that's how I spent my time in the pandemic, in some kind of creative way. But I have to say that I'm teaching. I have a teaching job, and so it's not correct when I say I have nothing to do, but all the concerts were cancelled, so that was a little bit difficult in the beginning, to deal with that. Going nowhere, just going out for a walk. Everybody's looking at you like you're sick, and everybody's afraid. It was really strange, but we got acquainted to it pretty soon, and now, yeah, now we're
Well,
hoping that it's getting better this summer.
yeah. Well, your family probably was happy to have you home, because you were not touring that much.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. No, but I have to say that I'm um, regularly, or before the pandemic, I was spent a lot of time at home too, because I'm not so much in a touring band. When we went out, we mostly toured for a week or something like that, and then
Yeah.
I'm home a few months, and then a gig here, a gig there. So I'm not involved in a project where you are constantly touring. It's more 2 gigs here with this band, 1 gig with another band, and so on. The most constant project is my own project, where I sometimes check about 2 or 3 gigs in a row.
Yeah.
Then we are home. Then we have another gig or another 4 or 5 gigs or something like this. So no touring for months for me.
I got you.
Yeah, I don't know. I never did that. The longest tour I did was, I think, about 2 weeks. So a little bit longer than 2 weeks in a row.
No,
And
wow.
uh, yeah, there was nothing else. The gigs with Tangerine Dream were more single gigs. We played in London, in Warsaw, London 2 times, I think, then in Berlin 2 times, and I was not so much on tour with them.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go from the beginning. Were you born like in a musical family? When do you begin? Were you born like in a musical family? When you pick up the guitar and do you take formal lesson? You're on your own?
No, I was not born. I mean, my mother is still very, very musical, but she didn't play an instrument, or my father didn't play any instrument. But my mother knows how to sing, and she always know how to sing the harmony, vocals when she hears a melody. But in my family, there's no other musician or professional musician, but maybe a generation before there was I don't know what the English word is. He led a small combo. It's called in Österreich is Kapellmeister, band leader, some kind of folk band.
Yeah.
That he where he was the leader. That's what I heard from my mother, but no other professional musicians in my family. And I don't know. I always was totally into music when I heard it in young days. My cousins were pretty musical, and they had a drum set on their in their house, and they played to me some music like Sweet or this kind of 70s rock music. And I really was fascinated with this kind of music. And first I wanted to become a drummer, but my mother asked me, or let's say like this, my mother said I should learn guitar because it's the easiest instrument to learn or something.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's do that. And then I was about 9 years or 10 years and went to regular music school, learned classical guitar, and I loved it. But I got an electric guitar, I think, with 12, at the age of 12, I think. So I always was fascinated with guitar when I saw the old TV shows where a guy had a Fender Stratocaster. In these times, I didn't know what a Fender Stratocaster is, but now I know. And I was fascinated with the form and the sound, and yeah, it got more and more. And during my classical lessons, one of my teachers he showed me the minor pentatonic, which is a 5 note scale, and he said, If you know this scale, you can improvise and play solos over almost any tune." And I said, "Okay, good," and I learned that. And from that moment on, I didn't want to do anything else but that. I stopped playing classical. I just wanted to play electric guitar, soloing, improvising, and so on and so on. Yeah, and then we had a small band that we did in my school days with 2 friends of mine, and they both became professional musicians. One is a very famous drummer in Austria, and he played with every big name here, and the other one is also a well-known keyboarder and pianist. And yeah, we played originals, Started composing this was at the age of 13 or 14 or something like that. And so the way it went on and on and on, and it got more and more professional. Then I joined a hard rock band. We played classical hard rock music or heavy metal. I don't know how you would call it now, but in these times it was classic hard rock mixed with heavy metal. And I thought at the age of 16 or 17, I said to my friends I will never play anything else than rock and hard rock music. But this changed a little bit. Yeah, but it was a super, um, very nice time, and you're learning the instrument, you're developing some skills on your instrument. You are a band. You with your friends. That's socially, that's a really important phase. I think it was a very important phase in my life. And I really think about this time with a lot of how do you say, a lot of joy. And I really love this period in my life. And yeah, and a little bit later, I thought there must be something else than just playing in one mode or in one key as fast as possible, like it is when you're playing a hard rock band. You have a lot of modal progressions, and I thought there must be something else than playing as fast as possible in one key. And then I heard a few guys who mixed rock and jazz music, like Scofield, early Scofield, or Mike Stern, and these guys, and this these musicians and this kind of music brought me into jazz music. I think the very first Mike Stern record was called Upside Downs, and it was about 1985. That was really that had a real big impact on my musical, yeah, on my career. And I love this kind of mixture of rock music and jazz harmonies and straight grooves mixed with a lot of nice changes. So, and then I went totally into jazz and started to study jazz guitar on a conservatory in Vienna, and started to play in several bands with several musicians. Started to earn money with my with playing music, and this was the thing that I wanted to do for a living. So I knew, okay, I want to make my living with music. But in Austria, it's how can I say that, it's I think nowhere it's easy to to make a living with your own music or with just one kind of music. But in Austria, especially, it's you have to be very versatile and play different styles. And if you're good in different styles, you can play in this band or that band, or in a folk band, or in a top 40 band, or in a jazz band, and you always can earn money. And this is what I did, and this is what I wanted to do. And besides that, I always made my own music and my own records, which is always some kind of mixture of rock and jazz music, because in my heart I'm a rock musician.
So you decided to make music a career, and your parents, they say, "Yeah, go for it, no problem."
Well, in the beginning they didn't know what that was, a professional musician. But as soon as I as I earned some money with that, my dad saw, okay, this looks good.
Yeah.
And they supported me. They never said, no, you can do that, learn a regular job. It was clear that I will become a musician. The only thing that was really important for my dad was that I finished my school study, and
The high school. Yeah.
uh, in Austria it's called gymnasium. I don't know how you say it in America. Secondary
Yeah. High school.
high school. Is it high school here? Yeah. And I did that, and then I did nothing else than music, and played a lot of jobs, and always my my own music, which keeps me fresh. And I think when you do your own stuff, I for me, I love to play with other people and play other people's music and go on stage with them. But I don't know if it would be like that if I wouldn't have my own band and my own stuff, where I always can put my creativity. And so I like to play for others and do it as a job. And I always saw it, or did it like a regular job, like you go somewhere and go to work. So if somebody wants to have a guitarist in his band, he expects something and he hires me for something, and I try to do that as
Yeah.
best as good as I can, not as best.
Gotcha. You remember what records, vinyl, were you buying at the time and listening? I don't know if
Yeah,
I say. I think you like AC/DC a lot, right? So,
I remember a few. The Sweet were very important in the beginning.
yeah.
Then I had my phase with Kiss, ACDC. I
Yeah.
was a big ACDC fan, and then I had um, a certain phase where I listened to the British heavy metal bands like Iron Maiden and that kind of stuff. And there was maybe one musician that really influenced me a lot until today, and this was Gary Moore. I don't know if you know him, um, but not so much his blues phase, but more his rock phase. His first records that he did after, I think he was in Thin Lizzy, and then made his solo career after a short break with Colosseum 2, which was also a little bit of jazz rock. And I was really fascinated with Gary Moore. He had great songs, great power, and very dynamic guitar playing. And I saw him a few times live, and he influenced me a lot. So I have every Gary Moore record, uh, solo record from that time. Yeah, and then into, as I said, Mike Stern. Um, Big influence was, I stopped listening to Mike Stern at a certain point because um, I started to sound like him, you know, and somebody said that to me. So, you sound like him. And they said, oh shit. Oh shit. And I realized that he was right. I really so I stopped listening to Mike Stern, and but it was important for me because I learned a lot from transcribing the solos and listening to the sound, how he did this and that. So it was, I don't want to miss that. It was really a good influence for me, but I had to stop it.
I
Well,
understand.
yeah, and maybe another big influence is Scott Henderson from the band Tribal Tech. Or Tribal Tech, um, especially, is one of my favorite bands ever. It's the best fusion band that was on earth for me. I love them. Also, Chicory Electric Band was very important for me, and Pat Metheny, But and then I listened to all the other jazz guys, like Wes Montgomery or yeah, guys like this. Yeah, so it's really very different styles, and I still like rock music. I like pop music. I like every kind of music that's what, how can I say that, that is seriously and done, and that where good musicians are involved in. Let's say it like that. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't so much into electronic music, I have to say.
Really?
That,
Yeah.
that never was until
Tangerine Dream.
I got a job with Tangerine Dream. But that never was. I don't know why, but I wasn't that fascinated, or didn't hear the right things, the right bands. I had other
Yeah.
interests. But yeah, it changed a little. I mean, I'm not maybe not the biggest specialist for electronic music, but I like.
Well, if you go to Berlin, everybody like electronic music. That's the
Yeah,
capital of the world in electronic music. And
I know, I
so
know.
many great bands come from that, Germany, So
Yeah, what do you like? Like Kraftwerk and so and
yeah,
stuff.
all the kind of stuff. I have interviewed different um, musicians, and I like, Manuel Goshin and Ezra Temple and Peter Bauman and many others that for me they Klaus Schulze, they were important. But I like you, right, Gerald? I like rock and roll. I like jazz.
Mhm.
I like electronic music. I like pop, and it depends on the days and soft
Yeah,
rock. It's good music or bad music, right? So
right. It's
that's
just about good music.
yeah,
Just
it's
about.
about good music. Listen to stuff. So I enjoy that, and I'm happy that you mentioned Pat Metheny because he's one of my heroes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now I had a very strong Pat Metheny phase. Um, it was the period where what was the name? Still Life Talking.
Yeah, still
This
like that. Yeah,
record, and what's the live record? Travels. I think the live record is Travels.
yeah. Trouble's a beautiful album. Too. Yeah.
Beautiful. Pat Metheny, wonderful musician, and I still uh, have some times where I listen to Pat Metheny's music.
Have you
I
ever met him? No,
no, never.
no. Yeah, I
I
interview a
saw him
couple.
live
Huh?
one time in Austria. I saw him live. I saw a live concert in Austria,
Yeah.
which was one of my top three concerts, or maybe top five concerts that I ever saw. It was so good. It was about, I think it must be in 89 or 1990 or something like this.
Yeah.
So good. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I have interviewed a couple of drummers from Panasonic, and
Yeah. Like
they
Paul Vertigo, I
yeah, Paul
saw.
Vertigo, right? Paul Vertigo, and then later on, another drummer joined the band, Antonio Sanchez. He's
Yeah.
another. Yeah, I interviewed the guy too, and I have not had the chance to interview Pat Metheny. He's busy, so and
Yeah.
then of course I never interviewed live Maze, but
Mhm,
and
mhm.
but I have seen Pat Metheny. I don't know, like 20 or 30 times.
Really? Really?
Because I really like his music. I mean, for me,
Okay. So was it all in America, or also somewhere?
only in South America and here in the United States.
Okay. Okay.
Growing up, when I was 14 years old, I remember when I bought my first vinyl record, I thought to myself, well, if I could listen Pat Metheny once and then Jean-Luc Ponty from France
Mhm.
once, I will be happy with the rest of my life. And now I have seen hundreds of
Yeah.
shows, so I'm very music and
Yeah, cool.
it's very important to me. I don't play any instrument, Gerald. I don't know how to read music, but I buy a lot of music and I listen to a
Yeah.
lot of music. It's important, So
You love music. You love to
oh,
listen.
absolutely. And here I'm very lucky. because in the area that I live in the border with two states, with Washington D.C. and
Yeah.
Maryland, and
Yeah.
every band come this way, every band. So you can see, I don't know, 20, 30 shows a year here, easily, easily.
Yeah.
Good
Cool.
bands.
Yeah. In
So
Austria, it's a little bit different. So Metheny wasn't too often here. I think he was here 2 or 3 times, and I just catched him one time. So and in the 80s they didn't come to Austria. They maybe came to Germany,
he
or
went to Germany. So I know, yeah.
but now it's much better. And all the guys that I like, or most of the guys that I like I said, Scott Henderson, or I'm a big Wayne Krantz fan. I don't know if you know Wayne Krantz. He's a New York guitar player. They play these medium clubs in Vienna with 500 people or something like that, and I go there a lot and see my heroes and my guys that I like at the moment. So
Sure,
that's
sure. Do you like King Crimson?
I like King Crimson, but that's also some kind of band that I wasn't so much into. But
No,
there is no reason, no special reason for that. It's just they didn't cross my my path too much,
sure.
like other bands. I don't know. When or for example, Rush or so. I know Rush a little bit from my younger days, and when I now listen to a Rush record, I think, oh, wow, great music. I think it would be the same with King Crimson, but I'm not so familiar with the kind of music. If you ask me for an AC/DC record, yeah, I can I can maybe say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Maybe.
ACC is going to be touring again. They say in this year, right? They were
Yeah,
done.
I heard of that. But we'll see. I think there is just Malcolm Young died last year, the
Could
brother
be
of,
two of the original, 2 or 3 original guys.
yeah,
But
and
they're always good, man. You know,
yeah, they're always good. I think,
the drummer got in trouble with the law. I don't know if it was
right.
arrested.
Bill Rudd, he had some serious troubles. I think what I remember, but he's playing now with them, right?
Yeah, he's going to be playing, and the main guitar player, and it's always trying to find a good vocalist and another
Yeah,
guitar
yeah,
player. But they are very, very good. Man. They're very popular here in the United States.
yeah,
No matter who play with them, they can sell
yeah,
50,000 tickets in a week.
yeah. Right.
The same like the Rolling Stone. No matter where they play, who is coming, the tickets go like that. They're
Yeah, yeah.
they're
All
very
right.
good. Yeah. So tell me about how you end up, with Tangerine Dream. You needed to audition for the band. How came along?
Yes, some kind of audition. It was a little bit it was a funny situation because Tangerine Dream, they moved to Austria. I don't know if you know that. Maybe Bernie told you about that. Um, they had a second home in Austria beside their Berlin
Yeah.
home, and this is not so far from my home. I mean, in Austria, nothing is is very far away. You can't compare it to America, but it's
Right.
about an hour with the car. And I remember that a former student of mine, um, he lived in the same, I think, in the same village where they moved, or maybe somebody lived there, and he knew the guys there,
Yep.
and they. So he told me the story like that. Tangerine Dream, they was looking for a guitar player, a local guitar player, and he went there and played, and they jammed a little bit, and he said, I think maybe both parties said it didn't fit that well,
Sure.
but
Sure. Sure.
he told them, that he knows a guy who could fit pretty good into this project, and this guy, I was the guy, and so he called me, and then Edgar Fröse called me because my former student recommended me. So until that, I knew the name Tangerine Dream. I knew they were popular, but I didn't know anything about the music. I knew they did some film music for I think Stephen King, and some crime series Tatort in Germany. That's what was in my mind, but I didn't know too much. So, and I went there and we jammed a little. Edgar played a few tracks that he produced, and I had to play to this track, just a little bit comping and a little bit soloing. And after this jamming, so he asked me if I would do the job, if I would play on the record, and I said yes, sure, of course. But I didn't really know how big this thing was, to be honest. I realized that when I played my first show with them in London, when we were at the sound check. I mean, I always have to say I know that they were pretty famous, and people know them. And I went to the sound check, and there were in the afternoon there were hundreds of people at the backstage door, and I I went in with my guitar, and some people came to me and said, oh, look at this, hey, here's the guitar player. Let's ask him. And I was very surprised, and I didn't know how to react, because I wasn't used to that. That was, and so this was the time where I realized, okay, there is something, there is something I don't know. And people came. They didn't play too many shows in the 90s, what I remember, and people came from Greece, from Portugal, from any country, even from America, to the show in London, with some pictures they drew, and stuff they brought, and it was really strange. And so, but I realized then, okay, I think they have a great fan and big fan base. This is something special. Yeah, and this is how I came to Tangerine Dream. So I played the first record, I think in '95, Tyranny of Beauty, which was pretty cool. And then we made the second record. It's called Goblin's Club, and there is a little some kind of sad thing for me with this record, because we recorded really a lot of guitars for this record, and I think the tracks were really cool. And Edgar told me, "Oh, this is really cool stuff that we did here." And this was the it was the first time when the ADAT recording machines came up. I don't know if you know, digital audio machines.
Okay. Yeah.
And they had some guy there who recorded from Berlin, and we recorded, I think, 10 or 12 tracks or more. I don't remember. A lot of stuff, and real cool stuff. And a few days or a few weeks after the recording, Edgar called me and said, "Hey, we have some serious trouble with the audio stuff. Something happened, and about 80% of all the guitars were gone and were not there. And they had to they had a timeline. They had to bring out the CD on a certain or the record on a certain date, and so we couldn't record a second time, and they just used so 2 or 3 tracks were left and made it on the record. But we recorded a lot of more, and that was a little bit sad, because I think that would have been a real cool stuff with a lot of guitars. And this record